Welcome to The Authority File, the academic library podcast from Choice. Choice is a publishing division of the ACRL and the publisher of Choice Reviews and CC Advisor. This episode is brought to you by Sage Publishing. I'm Bill Mickey, the host of the podcast and the editorial director at Choice, and for this 4-episode series, my guests and I discuss the evolving research workflow and the opportunities academic libraries have to embed themselves deeper within it. We'll also talk about how these integrations impact library services and the value they deliver back to the institution. In this 3rd episode, our guests and I talk about patron privacy as academic libraries explore a wider range of technical solutions to enhance existing services and introduce new ones. My guests include Richard Griscom, Associate University Librarian for Departmental Libraries at the University of Pennsylvania, Karen Phillips, Senior Vice President, Global Learning Resources and UK Editorial at Sage Publishing, and Johan Tilstra, the founder and CEO of Lean Library. So, we've all along been sort of talking about this, obviously a digital environment, engagement is key. We've also touched on some of the metrics and data that can kind of be thrown off or revealed through the activity and use of sort of an access configuration like this. But, obviously libraries are very wary of and protective of the student and researcher experience within a digital environment. And Johan, I'm wondering if you could address this a little bit. There was a snag you hit with Arizona State Library where the browser activity was being pushed out of the extensions. And I'm wondering if you can sort of describe what that issue was, how you overcame it, but also, really the general state of privacy concerns libraries have with points of access and engagement with digital resources.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that you describe it as a snag, because in our minds it was an excellent opportunity for us to show how we think about privacy of the end users. Okay. And yes, it was true that at the time we found out as well that more data got sent our way than we wanted to and than we needed. And with our browser extension, our general stance is that we'd like to know as little as possible about the end users, simply because the stance of Lean Library is that this is a tool that should be offered by libraries to their end users, and that's the whole mission and the whole vision behind Lean Library. Let's build a tool that simply helps end users, and there are loads of librarians who have a mission to help their end users. Let's see if we can get enough librarians to buy into building something like this, so that we can offer to as many end users as possible. And that was also my personal motivation. Through all those interviews, I saw how absolutely enthusiastic and great people were responding to using this tool. We were simply helping them out with a common, with some of the common hurdles that they were facing. I can't get access to this article. What do I do? We were helping them out, and I thought that getting a lot of librarians to buy into this and simply offer this tool to their end users, that would be an excellent idea, and I still think it is. And because we had libraries as supporters financially, we don't have to monetize any user data. We don't need that data. We don't want that data. Obviously, we thought about how great it would be that if you're in the end user's browser and you're using browser extensions, you manage to have a lot of end users install your browser extension. You could see loads and loads of stuff, and you can. And it's great on one hand, but it's also terrifying on the other, because who knows what happens. And we were absolutely clear that we did not want to do this. We do not want to monetize user data. We don't want to send it over We don't want to convince people to install our browser extension and then piggyback on everything we can see. So yeah, we do. Some data gets sent back to our servers, but that's all anonymous, aggregated numbers that we only use to tell librarians and nobody else. We tell librarians on how on what the uptake is of the browser extension, how many people are using it, how did it go, is your promotion of Lean Library, is it working? Most of the times it is, and we need to provide a few numbers back to our customers. So what happened is, in that in those messages back to our service, to only provide those anonymous numbers, again only for those librarians, only for our customers and nobody else. A bit too much info got sent our way. We didn't do anything with that data because we don't need it, we don't want it. Somebody called us out for it and said, well, why does all the data get sent our way? And that was a truly nice opportunity for us to simply to show explicitly that we don't need that data. And we fixed it. We said, yeah, you're absolutely right. We don't need that data. We don't want that data. We're going to change it. We've changed it. And yeah, so for us, that was both just a minor bug, but also a very nice showcase on really proving that we don't want to have that data.
Right. So was it like a patch or something that you developed, or how did you stop that flow? Or you just...
We are constantly working on adding new features and stamping out bugs, and the browser extension itself, it gets updated regularly. We keep adding new features all the time. So for us, it was just simply a matter of, we see that that data gets sent over to our server. We don't do anything. I think it was scrubbed and deleted out of our log files immediately because we don't use it. So we simply change the code a bit, and now only domains get sent our way, which is enough for us to provide those aggregate numbers back to the librarian, and that was all there is to it.
Okay. And then Dick, with this data coming back to you, I mean, what are some of the ways you're able to use this to improve the experience, I suppose, of your patrons?
Yeah, well, we get statistics on how many people have installed the browser extension, so that gives us an idea of the penetration on campus. And also we get statistics on the number of redirects, so that the number of times that a user lands on a URL and it's directed to a document through the proxy server. It gives us information primarily on the adoption, the level of adoption of the extension, whether we need to do more promotion. We went live just a few months ago, and we have at this point about 500 active users. It's the end of the semester. We don't expect there to be a lot of uptake over the summer, so we're going to launch a big campaign in the fall to get use up.
Excellent. And then, while I have you, Dick, I'm wondering if you could sort of address or add on to what Johan was just talking about in terms of broader issues around patron privacy, especially in a digital environment.
We consider protecting user privacy one of our most important responsibilities. And we try to offer only products and services that respect users' privacy. That's becoming more and more challenging in this age where users have come to expect personalized services. And vendors need personal attributes to provide personalized services. In these situations, we feel it's our responsibility to inform users about the risks they're going to be taking and allow them to choose whether to take on those risks, not force it on them. So if someone doesn't want personalized services, they should not be forced to assume a risk to their privacy. In the case of Lean Libraries, it's kind of a different situation, since there are no personal accounts that are set up and there's no personal data that's being transmitted. For us, as we were looking at Lean Library, the privacy and security issue is that any browser extension has inherent privacy and security risks. As Johan mentioned, browser extensions potentially have access to anything that's being passed through the browser.
Right.
So we had discussions with the Lean Library staff, and we left those discussions feeling that they have an enlightened approach to privacy. Still, though, those risks exist, and we feel that we have to be upfront with users about them and make them aware of what the risks are.
You just heard from Richard Griscom, Karen Phillips, and Johan Tilstra. This concludes the third of our 4-part series on how academic libraries can embed themselves deeper into the research workflow. This episode was brought to you by Sage Publishing. Be sure to join us next week when we continue our conversation on patron privacy, particularly as some of the larger academic publishers are shifting into a more data-centric business model and how mobile may or may not factor into library tech solutions.
So we are aware that some of our competitors are absolutely seeing themselves increasingly as kind of technology companies that kind of can start really using data and potentially monetizing data. And we're not looking to go down that route.
Find all of the episodes of The Authority File on your favorite podcast app or on our website, choice360.org. Just click on the librarianship dropdown. On choice360.org, you'll also find information on Choice's entire product platform, including Choice Reviews, CC Advisor, Choice Webinars, resources for college libraries, our white papers, and a whole lot more. A great way to keep up with the Authority File is to join the Choice Authority File Facebook group, which you can access via the Choice Reviews Facebook page. As a member of the group, you can give us feedback, suggest podcast participants, chat with other listeners, and submit new topic ideas. Sponsorship and advertising for the Authority File podcast are handled by Choice's advertising manager, Pam Marino, and all of our episodes are produced by Choice's digital media specialist, Mark Dirks. That's all for this week. Thanks for joining us.